Okay. Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe. Pranam Didi ji.
Radhe Radhe.
It's a pleasure to see you again after a long time. We
Thank you. It's
usually
good to
meet
be
at
here.
Mangar Sadhana, but because
Yes.
of the COVID, because of the COVID pandemic, we had to do our sadhana online this year, so we couldn't meet. Didiji, today I watched your Roop Dhyan meditation, the guided meditation on YouTube. It was so blissful, and I shared it on our group also. I still remember the meditation that you had conducted in Hong Kong in 2012,
Yes.
and you had, and in that you had said, Radharani is wearing pink silky pajamas and fluffy slippers. So I still
Yes.
remember that. That was so cute. Yeah. So friends, I would like to tell you a little bit about Didiji. Siddheshwari Devi was born in the state of Punjab in northern India and spent her formative years in Canada, graduating from York University in Toronto with a degree in linguistics. Internally, or just a second, please, just a second. Just a second. I would like to share my screen so everyone can see the screen. Okay, just a second. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, yes, Varshaji. It's playing.
Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, just a second. So you can see the screen, right? Okay, wonderful. So her formative years she spent in Canada, graduating from the York University in Toronto with a degree in linguistics. Internally guided by God, she felt intuitively that life has much higher purpose than merely eating, sleeping, and accumulating wealth. The promise of a financially rewarding career did not hold any appeal for her. After graduating from university, Didiji's spiritual quest led her to Jagadguru Sri Kripalu Maharaj, who is the only fifth personality in the past 5,000 years to be recognized as Jagadguru. That means a world teacher, guru of the world. Didiji made a pilgrimage to India, spent 2 years in the ashram, and learned directly from Sri Kripaluji Maharaj the intricate mysteries of the Vedas and the other scriptures. Sri Kripaluji Maharaj declared in the very first visit that he would grant her the service of preaching his message to the West. She began performing this service in 1987. Didiji is the founder of Radha Madhav Society, a non-profit charitable organization in America, Canada, and Trinidad, functioning under the auspices of Jagadguru Kripalu Parishad. Yugal Kunj, Radha Krishna Temple and Community Center is an initiative of Siddheshwari Devi to provide profound spiritual teachings of Hinduism and bring to light the wonderful resources of this eternal religion, its all-encompassing culture, and dispel the myths and misconceptions related to it. Didiji is an eloquent and vibrant speaker, a melodious singer, compassionate by nature, and extremely approachable. Her mission is to simplify the eternal message of the Vedas and Shastras and awaken love for God within the hearts of seeking souls. Didiji's preaching is concentrated in the US, Canada, the West Indies, Singapore, and Malaysia. She has inspired and transformed the lives of thousands. With a mixture of Eastern background and Western upbringing, Didiji inspires adults, teens, and children alike through her lectures, satsangs, and devotional retreats in various parts of the US, and the world. Didiji has been working tirelessly during this entire pandemic to help people virtually. Her 30-day virtual lecture series based on Sri Maharajji's Premras Siddhant was given primarily for this purpose. This lecture series is available on Yogalkund's YouTube channel. So please, you can log on to YouTube channel and watch these videos. And Didiji's messages: the responsibility of our actions rests with us. Yet we cannot do anything without God gracing us with mind and intellect. So God enables us to perform actions, but we decide what we are going to do. And Didiji, I would like to tell you something about Tripti ji now. Dr. Tripti Jain is a transformational life coach who is known for her work in the field of past life regression. She has worked for more than 2 decades in the field of mental health, and her popular show Raz Pichle Janam Ka on Indian primetime television has made her a household name. Tripti ji is fondly called Ma by all her students. She's a mentor, a philosopher, a guide to each one of us. Tripti ji, I thank you very much for creating this platform and inviting speakers from various fields for our growth and self-transformation. So over to you, Tripti ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Varshaji. This was a surprise to see my slide there. I don't think I have the, what should I say, the kind of gravitas to be on the same platform with Didi. But I'm truly honored by all of you and all your love and regard. Didi ji is here with us, and I don't want to have any more delay because I'm also as interested in everybody else to listen to Didi. I have been watching her videos and they are truly enlightening. So Didi ji, thank you so much for gracing all of us today. And it's really and truly an honor for us to hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tripti ji. Should I call you Dr. Jain?
No, sure, please, please. You can just call me by my first name, which is hardly spoken. So it's good.
It's wonderful to be here, and thank you, Varshaji, for getting in touch with me. Radhe Radhe, everyone who's here. Very nice to be in your midst. For me, it's morning. For you, it's evening. I will go right into my topic now, which is a very important topic that you have chosen. So I'm glad to be part of this Thinking Thursday with all of you from around the globe. We suffer from many fears in life, and the biggest fear is the fear of death, no doubt. Sanatan Vedic Dharma has within it 6 systems of philosophy known as Shadarshan, as you know, and one of them is the Yoga Darshan. Yoga Darshan of Patanjali says that there are 5 klesh, 5 afflictions. पंच क्लेश हैं जो बुद्धि के विकार हैं ये. These are the 5 ailments that torment that afflict our intellect, our buddhi. Rag, dvesh, abhinivesh, avidya, and asvita. So one of these pancha klesh, one of these 5 afflictions is abhinivesh. Abhinivesh means a tremendous fear of death. We have this fear of death, and we tend to fear that which we know nothing about or which we don't really know. So we don't really know about death, therefore we are very afraid of it. If we were to find out more about it, we would make friends with it. Because let's face it, death is a part of life. And it happens to everyone. It happens once in our lifetime. So it would be good to make friends with it. It's good for us to not fear it. For that reason, we should find out more about it. We have all faced death countless times. Adi Shankaracharya says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha sansare khalu dustare, kripaya pare pahi murare, bhaj govindam, govindam, bhaj mudhamate. We have been born again and again. We have faced death again and again. So death is nothing new to us. We don't remember it, but we definitely know that we have died again and again. We have taken birth again and again. So yet we are afraid of it because of that unknown factor. We are so afraid. And when we are afraid, we lose our logical thinking. We lose our faculty of reasoning, don't we? We are so afraid of death that there's a Hindu custom, as everyone knows, of saying Ram Naam Satya Hai. जब हम शव को ले जाते हैं श्मशान घाट तक, तो हम लोग बोलते हैं राम नाम सत्य है. So there's a tradition of saying something so wonderful, Ram Naam Satya Hai. The name of Ram, the name of God is true. As if to say this body we are carrying to the cremation ground is subject to destruction, but the only thing that's true is God and the name of God. And that shows so much knowledge, doesn't it? That, wow, you have learned so much that you are all chanting Ram Naam Satya Hai, taking the body of the deceased to the cremation ground. Yes, we have that much knowledge. But what about on the way back? Has anyone ever uttered the words Ram Naam Satya Hai on the way back from the cremation ground? No. Has anyone heard these words on the way back from the cremation ground? No. Why? Because of the fear of death. We think that if we were to say it again on the way back, then somebody else may die. हम लोगों ने राम नाम सत्य है इसको जोड़ दिया मृत्यु से. तो हम बोलते हैं राम नाम सत्य है जाते समय श्मशान में घाट पे ले जाते समय, लेकिन वापसी में हम नहीं बोलते क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि किसी की मृत्यु हो जाएगी. तो ये इतना बड़ा डर है हमारे अंदर कि हमारी जो रीजनिंग है, हमारी सोच है, गड़बड़ा जाती है और हम ऐसा सोचने लगते हैं कि just by uttering the Ram Naam Satya Hai, somebody else is going to die. So my Gurudev, Jagadguru Sri Kripalu Maharaj, he has said in one of his scriptures, one of his lyrical scriptures, Bhakti Shatak, Ram Naam Sab Satya Kaha, जब लौ जात मसान, लौटत ही पुनि सत्य जगत कहाँ, सत्य मान धनी ज्ञान. So लौटत ही पुनि जगत कहाँ सत्य. लौटते ही हम क्या बोलते हैं? नहीं, ये जगत सत्य है, ये संसार ही सत्य है. अब हम भूल गए कि राम नाम सत्य है. So this happens because of fear. So let's find out about death. What do the scriptures say? What do the scriptures say? Well, the Bhagavad Gita says, Lord Krishna says in the Gita, look, death is nothing but the soul taking on a new body. And he gives a very, very nice example, an example we can all relate to, by saying in the second chapter of the Gita, Vasansi jirnani ratha vihaya navani grihnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnanyanyani sanyati navani dehi. Just as a person takes off old and soiled garments and puts on new clothes after taking a bath, in the same way the soul discards one body, the old body, in favor of a new one. So हम लोग नहा कर कपड़े बदलते हैं, हम रोते नहीं हैं उस समय. I just like to go back and forth between English and Hindi, if that's all right. हम लोग जब कपड़े बदलते हैं तो रोते नहीं हैं. तो जब आत्मा वस्त्र बदलती है तो हम क्यों रोते हैं हम, क्यों दुख मनाते हैं, ये श्री कृष्ण गीता में कहते हैं. So we are asked to think about this. Why should I cry? Why should I grieve when a loved one dies? Why should I fear my own death? The soul is only changing garments. The soul is only changing from one body to the next. The difference between us changing clothes and the soul changing bodies is that we change, we discard, we take off clothes that are soiled or they're smelly, they're old, they're torn. But the soul can give up even a very new body, a fresh body, body of a child, body of a young man, a young woman. That is the only difference. To make friends with death, we have to first answer a question. And that question seems so simple, but it is a question that we have yet to answer correctly. Although we may say the answer outright, we may speak the answer. When someone asks, who are you? That's a question, who am I? So when someone says, who are you? I'm the Atma, that's who I am. I may say it, but do I believe it? So really knowing who I am is the key to understanding death and making oneself comfortable with it. To become comfortable with death, we must understand, first of all, who we are. We are not our name, we are not our gender, we are not our nationality, we are not Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Sikh, Jain, or Buddhist, or we are not our religious affiliation. We are not our political affiliation. We are nothing like that. We are not tall or short. We are not stout or thin. We are not dark or fair. We are nothing like that. We are not Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. We are not Bengali, Punjabi, Gujarati. We're nothing like that. We are not Indian or Chinese or American. We are just the soul. And the soul has no such qualifications. The soul that is eternal, the soul that has never had a beginning, the soul that is a part and parcel of God, that is who I am. I am the Atma. I am the spirit soul. That is who I am. We know it. Perhaps we know it at the theoretical level. But to really know it, they who really know it, they go beyond the fear of death. So it would be good for us to, if we don't know us ourselves, it would be really good to know the self. Who am I? So let's find out about the soul. And I should mention to you that my Gurudev, Jagadguru Kripalu Maharaj, towards the end of his day on earth, and he lived on earth for 91 years, but for a few years before that, he started giving lectures, and he gave 103 lectures in a series. प्रवचनों की एक श्रृंखला दी थी श्री महाराज जी ने, और उसका शीर्षक है मैं कौन मेरा कौन. Of course, who am I and who is mine? Main kaun, mera kaun. So 103 lectures on just answering main kaun, mera kaun. In other words, this is such an important topic, such an important thing to know, the Atma. And we're so fortunate that we are told by Upanishads about the Atma. What is the Atma? Who are we really? So Shvetashvatara Upanishad tells us about the Atma. It tells us about the size of the soul. Bala grashata bhagasya shatadha kalpitasya cha bhago jivasya vigyeya sachanantyaya kalpate. This mantra from Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, do you wish to know the size of the soul? So we will tell you. This verse says, I will tell you. So it says, Bala grashata bhagasya. Take a strand of your hair and divide it into 100 parts. Someone who has long hair would say, well, I can easily do that. But no, not lengthwise. Take a strand of hair and divide it widthwise into 100 parts. Even if you have very thick hair, you can divide one strand of hair into 100 parts. I suppose it can be done, but you can't see those parts. You can't see it. It's not visible to the eye. And then you take one of those parts and divide it further into 100 parts. So says Shvetashvatara Upanishad. In other words, divide, split one hair into 10,000. There's an English expression, don't split hairs. Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, split one hair into 10,000 parts. And then there you have it. That is the size of the soul. तो ये क्या बात है कि श्वेताश्वतर उपनिषद ने कहा कि एक बाल को 10,000 टुकड़ों में बांटो और वो है, उनमें से एक जो टुकड़ा है, एक हिस्सा है, वो आत्मा का साइज है, वो आत्मा का परिमाण है, उसका साइज है. In other words, the Atma does not have a size. Because it is divine in nature, just like God is divine, beyond the material world, beyond material mind, beyond the material intellect, so is the soul. The individual soul is just like the supreme soul in that it is also divine. So that which is divine cannot be seen with the material eyes. So the soul has no size. All right? It has no size, yet it brings consciousness to the body. As long as the soul is inside the body is working wonderfully. Eyes are seeing, ears are hearing, every one of the 5 sense organs, Gyanendriya, the senses of perception, they're all working fine. So as long as the soul occupies this body, the body is working. The hands are working, the feet are moving, everything's good. But as soon as the soul leaves, the body, we see that the body by itself is just insentient. ये शरीर जड़ है, इसमें चेतना नहीं है. वो चेतना तो आई जब आत्मा शरीर के अंदर आई, और जब आत्मा चली गई शरीर से, वो चेतना भी चली गई. आत्मा का दूसरा नाम चित है, चेतना. ये आत्मा चेतन है, और शरीर में जब तक ये आत्मा है तब तक शरीर चेतन है. और जब जिस क्षण आत्मा शरीर से निकल गई, उसी क्षण शरीर अपनी यूं कह सकते हैं वास्तविकता में आ जाता है. हम देखते हैं कि वास्तव में शरीर क्या है, ये जड़ है. The body is insentient, it has no consciousness, and it just seems to be conscious because of the presence of the soul within. So the Upanishads say, Alomabhya Anakhebhya, Chandogya Upanishad. From the head to the toe, the entire body is conscious due to the presence of the soul within it. That's really important for us to realize, that it's the soul that makes the body work. The body by itself is nothing. And I think we already know this. At certain times in life, we do realize this. For instance, when we see a dead body, when we go to someone's funeral, we see a dead body, and we're looking at the body and we're saying, oh, bechara chala gaya. Oh, poor thing, he's gone. He's gone. And if somebody comes and says, what do you mean he's gone? Are you not able to see? He's laying right there. वो तो वहां लेटा है, चला कहाँ गया? अरे नहीं भैया, वो तो शरीर है उसका, वो तो चला गया ना. Oh, he's gone. That's his body. We become so knowledgeable when we go to someone's funeral. So it's good to go to funerals. We become very knowledgeable. We are looking at the body and we are realizing that body is not who he is. He is the Atma, and the Atma has left. That's why people start crying, oh, the Atma has left, and now this is just the body. This is why we cremate the body, or depending on your religious affiliation, you bury the body or you dispose of it somehow or the other. We all do. So we realize that the Atma is the important thing. Atma chali gayi, ab kya? ये तो मृतक देह है, ये तो शव है, इसको जलाओ, अरे कुछ दिन रुक जाओ, अरे नहीं 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 रुको नहीं, तुरंत जला दो। क्यों? क्योंकि हमें डर लगता है, डर लगता है। घर के कहीं बेग ही काढ़ो, भूत भय को खई है, जा दिन मन पंछी उड़ी जाई है। तुलसीदास जी कहते हैं कि जिस स्त्री को अपने पति से इतना प्रेम था, जा तिरिया सो प्रीति घनेरी, सो देखी डराई है। जा तिरिया सो प्रीति घनेरी, सो देखी डराई है, जा दिन मन पंछी उड़ी जाई है। जिस स्त्री को इतनी आसक्ति थी अपने पति देव में, वो कहती थी कि मैं तुम्हारे बिना जी नहीं सकती, अब वही स्त्री अपने पति का मृतक देह देखकर डर रही है और वही कहती है चलो जला दो। So we do realize at certain times in our lives that we are not the body. The physical body is nothing without the Atma. We don't value the body that does not have the soul within it. If it's the body of an animal, we call it a carcass. Oh, there's a carcass by the side of the road, by the side of the highway. And if it's a human body, we give it more respect. Now, respectfully cremated, do all the rituals and be respectful, but then get it over and done with. Destroy it. It's gone. Now we need to get rid of it. We don't want to keep it in the house. So this day, it comes for everyone. And it's good to be aware of it. It's good to make friends with death before that time comes. I remember a devotee, she wrote to Shri Maharaj Ji many years ago. She said, Maharaj Ji, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं अपने माँ बाप में आसक्त नहीं हूँ, लेकिन अब उनकी आयु बढ़ रही है तो मुझे बहुत डर लगता है कि वो चले जाएंगे, उनकी मृत्यु का बहुत भय लगता है, मैं क्या करूँ? So this is someone who's on the spiritual path, and she's disturbed because she fears her parents' demise, especially her father's demise because he was not keeping well. So Shri Maharaj Ji ne uttar diya. Shri Maharaj Ji wrote her back and said, I have to tell you in Hindi, of course, Meri bitiya, tum abhi se socho ki wo chale gaye. Shri Maharaj Ji said, my dear daughter, just think right from now that he has left. Get used to the fact that he will go one day. Of course, we don't know. We may go first. The younger one may go first. So the older one may go first. I know of a woman who was nursing her, who was taking care of her husband, who was very, very ill. And everyone expected that he would not survive. But he survived for many, many years and after her demise, after her death. We don't know when we'll go, but we will go one day. And it's good to know that. It's good to know what death is. It's good to make ourselves aware of who we really are, so that we don't grieve, so that we don't fall to pieces, so that we don't have a nervous breakdown when a loved one dies, so that we are not devastated. I remember the words of my guru who used to say, Shri Maharaj used to say, जब वर्षा ऋतु आती है तो तुम रोते हो क्या? जब वर्षा ऋतु में बारिश होती है रोते हो क्या? नहीं. जब गर्मियों में गर्मी होती है तो रोते हो क्या? जी नहीं. जब जाड़े में ठंड लगती है तो रोते हो क्या? नहीं. ये तो स्वाभाविक है. तो जिसने जन्म लिया वो मरता है जब, तो क्यों रोते हो? क्यों दुख मनाते हो? क्यों शोक मनाते हो? This is the natural phenomenon. Whoever comes to this world has to die one day. It's a given. Only thing is, we don't think that our loved ones will die. We don't want to face that truth. And that's why we suffer. Bhagwan Ram consoled a devotee by saying, Prakat Sotanu, I believe it was Mandodari, but it could have been Tara, I'm not sure. So I'm saying a devotee because I don't remember. Bhagwan Ram says, Prakat Sotanu Tan Tav Aage Sova, Jiva Nitya Tumke Hi Lagi Rova. भगवान के शब्द हैं ये. जीव नित्य, जीव तो नित्य है, सनातन है. उसकी कभी मृत्यु नहीं होती, आत्मा की मृत्यु कभी नहीं होती, तो तुम किस लिए रोती हो? किस लिए रोती हो? प्रकट सो तनु, ये शरीर के लिए रो रही हो क्या? क्योंकि ये शरीर तो तुम्हारे सामने है, तुम ही इसको अग्नि में डालना चाहती हो, इनके अंतिम संस्कार करना चाहती हो, तुम ही इसको जलाना चाह रही हो, तो शरीर के लिए तो रो नहीं सकती तुम। और क्या आत्मा के लिए रोती हो? तो आत्मा के लिए क्यों रोती हो? क्योंकि आत्मा तो नित्य है, आत्मा को कोई भी नष्ट नहीं कर सकता। नहीं, हम कभी भी मर नहीं सकते, क्योंकि हम तो आत्मा है, हम शरीर नहीं है। हम इस शरीर के भीतर जो है तत्व, जो भगवान का अंश है, सनातन अंश, ममई वांशो, ममई ममई वांशो जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातन। श्री कृष्ण ने गीता में कहा कि मैं सबका अंशी हूँ और सभी जीवात्माएं मेरे अंश हैं। So Shri Krishna has said that he is the supreme soul, and he says all the souls are my eternal fractions. So we are fractions of God, and we being the Atma, we cannot die because we never took birth. So in the Gita itself, again, Shri Krishna has said that the Atma is indestructible. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. Weapons cannot destroy the soul, air cannot dry it, fire cannot burn it, nor can wind wither it. It cannot be withered by the wind. It cannot be destroyed by any methods or any means. And once we realize that this is who we are, I am indestructible, I am eternal, no one can kill me, I am the Atma. The more we become aware of this, because it takes time, of course, it takes us time. It doesn't happen overnight. कि हमने सुन लिया कि तुम आत्मा हो तो हमने मान लिया, जी हाँ मैं आत्मा हूँ, और मेरा डर चला गया, मैंने समझ लिया, हाँ मैं तो अब डर चला गया। ये सुनना पड़ेगा बार बार, आवृत्ति रसकृत उपदेशात, उपदेश की को बार बार सुनना पड़ेगा, सुनना चाहिए. The divine teachings have to be heard again and again. We're not living in Satyug, where you used to have people like Shushrut. Shushrut was a sage, and he could internalize the knowledge that he heard just once. Just once. He would hear it once, and he would not only memorize it, he would know it, he would internalize it. But we're living in Kali Yuga. Our memories are very, very short. We have short memories. And our mind, it's just a reality. Our mind is filled with material thoughts, worldly thoughts. It's just the way it is. It's not an insult to any one of us. It's just the way it is. We are controlled by the deluding power of God called Maya, and our minds are filled with worldly thoughts. And we identify the self to be the body, so we are very attracted towards the outer world. And our memories are short. So we would have to hear it again and again. I'm the Atma. We have to revise this again and again in the mind. बार बार अपने मन में सोचना होगा, चिंतन करना होगा कि मैं आत्मा हूँ, मैं शरीर नहीं, मैं तो आत्मा हूँ, मैं अजर हूँ, मैं अमर हूँ, मैं सनातन हूँ, मैं भगवान का अंश हूँ, भगवान का अंश हूँ. और मेरे अंदर कुछ कुछ ऐसे गुण हैं जो भगवान में हैं. जैसे भगवान नित्य है, मैं भी नित्य हूँ. भगवान चेतन है और मैं भी चेतन हूँ, यानी आत्मा भी चेतन है, आत्मा नित्य है, तो मैं भगवान का अंश हूँ. So the more we accept this fact, because you see there's a big difference between knowing something and accepting that thing. An example would be, we have heard from the time when we were so small, when we were children, we heard from that time, Saach barobar tap nahi, jhoot barobar paap. We've also heard, like, it's wrong to tell lies. But who amongst us does not tell lies? We know that it's wrong to gossip about someone. I know it's wrong. But let me tell you something very juicy about him or about her. And we are so attracted by that, right? And we do it. And, oh, I know it's wrong. And we beat ourselves up. Oh, I gossiped today. It was wasted my time. I shouldn't have done it. It's not good. It's not right. So we do know many things, but we don't accept. We don't necessarily accept what we know. So acceptance comes after a lot of chintan. First comes Shravan, then Manan, then Nididhyasan. We hear something, then we should revise it. We should go over it again and again, repeat it in the mind again and again. And then we come to take a decision. We come to a point where we need to take a decision. That's I am the Atma. That's who I am. Oh, sorry, I'm hearing a lot of noise. Okay, so I am the Atma. To become completely aware of it, we need to think about it again and again. Once we are aware of it, then I've seen someone who is aware of it, and it was wonderful to see him. And I'm talking about my own Gurudev, because I respect all the saints in the world at present and the ones who have passed, and I have learned so much, and I continue to learn from so many. But in my life, I have been amazed to see a living saint, and the way he treated death was just amazing. And I'm not talking about death of someone else, because it's death of somebody else's family member in his own family. When death came, the way he treated it was so inspiring. It was amazing to see how someone who knows that he is the Atma, who knows when he looks at someone, he looks at the soul, not at the body, how he treats death. ठीक है, चलो ठीक है. Or, everybody's falling to pieces, and he is like a rock, and he says, ठीक है, अब इंतजाम करना होगा. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see that. And I think to myself, that is where I have to reach. This is where I have to reach. It's a process. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And yet we can, it's a daunting task. Accept that you are the soul. I can't. I think I'm the body. No, but take your time. Take your time, but just go ahead, and it's a process. Follow the process. All right, I can do that. Okay. So let me share with you a little bit more about the soul that the Upanishads tell us about. So we learned from Shvetashvatara Upanishad that the soul has no size. That's detectable. And also we are told by the Upanishads, by Prashna Upanishad this time, that Hridi Hesha Atma. We want to know where the soul lives. So this Upanishad tells us that the soul lives in the heart. Hriday mein nivas hai, Atma ka Hriday mein nivas hai. अच्छा, हृदय जो फिजिकल पार्ट है शरीर का, नहीं, उस फिजिकल शरीर के अंदर एक सूक्ष्म हृदय है, और उस हृदय में आत्मा का निवास है. The soul lives within the subtle heart, सूक्ष्म हृदय. That's where the soul dwells. And that's where the supreme soul also dwells, by the way. The individual soul, Jivatma, and the supreme soul, God, both live in the subtle heart. That's why we say भगवान हमारे अंदर रहता है. कहाँ रहता है? सूक्ष्म हृदय के अंदर रहता है भगवान. और आत्मा, हम भी वहीं पे रहते हैं. और वेदों ने तो यहाँ ये कहा कि एक जैसे वृक्ष है, उसकी एक डाल पे दो पक्षी बैठे हैं. एक है जीवात्मा, एक है परमात्मा. उनमें अंतर यह है कि जीवात्मा उस वृक्ष के ऊपर जो उग रहे हैं फल, उनको खा रहा है, और दूसरा पक्षी जो है परमात्मा, वो बस देख रहा है. In other words, we are performing many actions, and our Lord and our Master, Bhagwan, he is looking on and taking note and giving us the fruits of those actions eventually. So the soul has no size. The soul lives in the subtle heart. The soul is an eternal part and parcel of Bhagwan. Now, what happens when the person dies, when the soul leaves the body? We know about reincarnation. Everyone on this forum absolutely believes in reincarnation. And Kathopanishad tells us, Yoni manye prapadyante sharirasya, Yoni manye prapadyante sharirattvaya dehina. Sthanu manyenu sanyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. Kathopanishad says, something that I think everyone knows, and that is मरने के बाद जीवात्माओं में से अपने अपने कर्मों के अनुसार कोई तो वृक्ष आदि अचल शरीर को धारण कर लेते हैं और कोई देवता, मनुष्य, पशु पक्षी आदि जंगम शरीरों को धारण कर लेते हैं. So after death, what happens is that we live again. We live in another body. The soul is just changing from one body to the next. And what is that body that we will get next time? That depends on the actions. It depends on our karma. Not only the karma of our present life, but our karma, our actions of previous lives. They decide which body we are going to go into next time around. But one thing is for sure, that this is not just one life. I know that many American shows are shown all over the world. One of those shows, it's a soap opera. It's called One Life to Live. And, I thought about it one day. Now that's a very Western concept, One Life to Live, because that show, we'd never name a show in India like that, right? One life to live. It would be countless lives to live. We don't just have one life to live. And then there was a little humor I'll share with you. A man said to his friend, a Christian man said to his Hindu friend, "I'm a born again Christian. And I'm born again," he said. And the Hindu says, "Oh, well, as for me, I'm born again and again and again and again." Because we believe, we know that there's reincarnation. We are born again and again. So this is not our first and only lifetime. We have lived before. We will live again. And another thing I'd like to just point out over here is that a lot of people talk about akal mrityu, untimely death, but our scriptures don't support that view. Our scriptures tell us that death is certain, or rather, the moment of death is predetermined. From the time when we are not even born yet, we are still in the womb of the mother. अभी हम माँ के गर्भ में हैं, अभी जन्म नहीं लिया, और तभी से हमारी मृत्यु का exact moment, exactly कब हमारी मृत्यु होगी, वो निश्चित हो गया. अब उसमें कोई बदलाव नहीं ला सकता. कोई ये कहे कि हम आयु को बढ़ा देंगे, या अरे वो एक्सीडेंट हो गया तो अकाल मृत्यु हो गई उसकी, ऐसा कभी नहीं होता. We know from our Sanatan Vedic Dharma that death, the moment of death is predetermined, predestined, and no one can elongate anyone's life. And yet we routinely hear about that, oh, poor guy, his life was cut short, or, this medicine came along and it gave him a new life, or he would have died without it. Nothing of the sort. A lot of people are saying now these days that people are dying of the pandemic. They're just dying of death, that's all. Even if they're not dying of COVID, if it's their moment, they're dying. And there's a lot of consolation in that, because I have met many people in my life who come for counseling, and they say, if only I could have done this, my son would be alive. If only my wife had not taken that flight, she would be alive today. But it's nothing like that. The moment of death is something that no one can interfere with. No one can interfere with it. Everyone dies at the predetermined time. And I was thinking about that, that in the West, especially in America, there is a very common practice of suing. I'll sue you, you sue me, I sue you, and people are suing each other for very ridiculous reasons. But sometimes it's I was walking outside and there was snow or ice outside your house, and I slipped and I fell, and now I'm going to sue you. Or you were driving a car, and my son was driving a car, and you bumped into his car and he died in the accident, so I'm going to sue you. But in India we don't have that, and that goes to the fact, and I believe it's due to the fact that we know that everyone's death is predetermined. The manner of death can change. For instance, it could be suicide, death by suicide. But the fact is that the one who is committing suicide, he will not die, no matter how much he tries, if he is not meant to die. And I know of a woman, a distant relative, she was suffering from depression. In those days, people didn't know about depression. And I remember her very clearly from my teenage years. She had tried to commit suicide many times. And one day she did succeed, but she tried 5-6 times. It just was not her time to die. And it was time to die. She did commit suicide. So there's no such thing as untimely death. But we do grieve death because of our attachment. Our attachment to our loved ones, it makes us grieve. And our attachment to our own body makes us afraid of death. So if we can work on knowing the self, we will get rid of both the fears. I am the Atma, and I have only one relative who is always with me, and that is Paramatma. I have feelings of respect and affection for my family members, but I've had countless family members in the past. Kate kanta kaste putra sansaro yamativa vichitra kasyatvam kuta ayatah tattvam chintaya manasi bhratah bhaj govindam govindam bhaj mudhamate. These words of Adi Shankaracharya are so beautiful. He says, you've had countless relatives in the past, countless wives, husbands, children. Where are they now? You're not grieving for them. Likewise, the ones who are yours in this life, you will not grieve for them in the next life. You will not recognize them. So besides knowing the Atma, I am the Atma, we need to know Main kaun? I need to know who I am. Also, I need to know Mera kaun, who is mine. And answers to these questions will set us free. No more fear, no more grieving, no more devastation. Well, I don't want to keep on talking. I would like to know if there are any questions. We can have a Q&A session.
Thank you, Didi. It was truly enlightening. All the wonderful examples that you gave prove one thing that, if we believe in rebirth and we believe in the soul, life can be much more simpler.
Absolutely.
And I think we can live this life exercising our deep kind of potential. So I think it's really beautiful. I also want to say, Didi, that I think death is a tool of healing. I have had a lot of people, who have a lot of anger and resentment against somebody in their life. And then when I tell them, I want you to imagine that that person is dead. You have anger, you want that person to die, right? Because that person is creating so much of grief in your life. I mean, I just ask them to imagine that they're dead. Suddenly they feel terribly guilty. That, oh my God, all my life, I've thought so ill about this person. And then they feel so upset about themselves, thinking that they are bad people and they're thinking ill about that person, that they say, no, I think that. Then I say, okay, so if you can tell me some good qualities about this person that you hate so much. Now he's dead anyway. So can you say things about that person? And then they say, yeah, he had these qualities and all that. So even if you imagine the death of your own persecutor, you can actually think better of them. So
absolutely, yes,
so
yes.
Death has great healing power. I really truly believe that. So friends, Didi is right here with us. If any questions are there, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask Didi.
May I ask?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Didi, it was lovely, especially when you said about attachment. Actually, I was just, thinking about this whole thing today, that we get so attached to people emotionally and stuff, and that interferes with our journey. So you literally put us in a different position right now, and we are in a role, and more so. But how about this? Yet there is this mother-son attachment, and there's this love that pulls at you, and then comes the entire range of emotions like guilt and and anger and all that. So how would you go about life dealing with all this, knowing that you are not what you are playing, the role that you're playing?
Yes. So to accept, for the mother to accept that she's a caregiver for the child, and not become attached. It's not easy, of course, because the mother's attachment to her child is the strongest attachment there is. I've heard. I don't know from experience, but I can completely believe that it must be the strongest attachment. So I would not even say that that you should try, or anyone should try, to become detached. I would just say that you should try to become attached to God. We should just become attached to God more. And then what follows is automatic detachment, which is painless detachment. Because I've noticed in all my years of being with my guru, he never really talked about detachment that much. He worked on everyone becoming more and more attached to God. And that's brilliant, because the very word detachment frightens us. Like, oh, does it mean, first of all, there's a misunderstanding about detachment, that, am I going to become stone-hearted for my own child, for my loved ones, my nearest and dearest ones? I mean, I have seen, again, my guru, who was absolutely detached from everyone, but he was also the most loving personality I have ever come across, the most loving. I've never experienced that kind of love anywhere. So being detached doesn't mean you don't love. It means that your love spreads to the entire humanity. It's not just for one or two or three or four people. So what I would say is that, you should not try to become detached, but try to become attached to God through a regular discipline of devotion. We become more and more attached to God by listening to divine teachings, by listening, by hearing more and more about the Atma, and by practicing more and more love for the one who gave us life. We will eventually become naturally detached from the world. And that is a better thing to do, rather than trying to become detached, which frightens us greatly.
Absolutely, Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Most welcome.
दीदी, एक क्वेश्चन मुझे पूछना है। आपने बोला कि जैसे कि अकाल मृत्यु जैसा कुछ नहीं होता है, क्योंकि ये मैंने जिंदगी में पहली बार सुना है। और आपने ये भी बताया कि गर्भ में ही ये निर्धारित हो जाता है कि कब मृत्यु होगी। तो क्या वाकई जैसे हम तो सोचते हैं लाइक जैसे एक्सीडेंट हुआ या किसी ने सुसाइड किया या कुछ भी, तो ये सब क्या है, बताइए थोड़ा सा।
जी, हमें ऐसा लगता है कि एक्सीडेंट हो गया तो लगता है अकाल मृत्यु, या कोई बहुत जवानी में मर जाता है, बचपन में मर जाता है, हम कहते हैं अकाल मृत्यु है। लेकिन ऐसे है नहीं, क्योंकि सभी की मृत्यु पहले से निश्चित है। वो पिछले कर्मों से संबंध रखता है, वो जो अंतिम जो हमारे मृत्यु का क्षण है, तो पहले से डिसाइड हो गया। अब किस तरह से मृत्यु आएगी, बहुत आराम से हो जाएगा या बहुत कष्ट में, किस एज में, ये सब पहले वो अलग है, पर किस एज में होना है, किस क्षण में, वो पहले से है। हमने बहुत बार यही सुना है कि अकाल मृत्यु होती है, कि अगर उसने अपने जहर ना खा लिया होता तो भी जिंदा होता। लेकिन नहीं, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि हम किसी को जानते थे कि जिन्होंने बार-बार किसी न किसी तरह से आत्महत्या करने की का प्रयास किया, लेकिन वो असफल रही, और फिर जब उनका मृत्यु का समय आ गया तो उस प्रयास में वो सफल हो गई। तो मैं इतना ही कह सकती हूँ इसके बारे में कि हमने कई बातें सुनी हैं और हमें लगा कि शास्त्रों वेदों की बातें हैं ये, लेकिन इंसानों ने बातें बनाई और उनका कोई ठोस प्रमाण नहीं, उनका कोई भी प्रमाण नहीं है शास्त्रों वेदों में। ऐसी बहुत सी बातें हम सुनते हैं और फिर वो सच्चाई बन जाती है, सत्य बन जाती है, लेकिन हमें शास्त्रों वेदों के ऊपर हमें विश्वास रखना है। और शास्त्रों वेदों में ऐसा नहीं बताया गया। उन्होंने कहा अकाल मृत्यु तो नहीं, अकाल मृत्यु के बारे में उन्होंने नहीं कहा कि ऐसा कुछ होता है कि अकाल मृत्यु होती है। मृत्यु तो प्लान्ड होती है, भगवान सब कुछ प्लान करके, मतलब हमारे कर्मों के अनुसार ही, ऐसा नहीं कि हमारे कर्मों से संबंध नहीं है उसका, तो कर्म का फल भगवान देते हैं। तो उन्होंने पहले से डिसाइड कर लिया हमारे कर्मों के अनुसार कि हमें कितना जीना है। कोई 8 साल जी रहा है तो कोई 80 साल जी रहा है। अब इसी कोविड में कई लोग 90 साल की औरत, उनको बहुत बीमारियां थी, वो उनको कोविड हुआ और बच गई, और एक 14 साल की लड़की बिल्कुल हेल्थी और उसकी मृत्यु हो गई। तो क्यों? क्योंकि वो पहले से निर्धारित थी। और ये बहाने बन जाते हैं, जैसे कोई हार्ट अटैक से नहीं मरता, कोई मृत्यु से ही मरता है। वह मृत्यु ही कारण होती है उसके, किसी और कारण से कोई नहीं मरता।
Thank you.
I have a question. As you just said that there is no such thing as sudden death. As Shakuntala ma'am also said the same thing. I have a question that what are those souls that are called as earthbound souls? जो आत्माएं भटकती हैं या जो आत्माएं they have not reached the light. Why is that so then? What kind of souls are those souls?
Sometimes when someone commits suicide, then उनकी आत्मा भटकती है, their soul wanders, and sometimes it's a form of punishment कि भटक रही है आत्मा. So मैं आपको एक किस्सा सुनाती हूँ. हमारे हिंदी तो सभी, मैं बोल तो रही हूँ हिंदी, सबको आती है ना हिंदी में, देख. अब मैं पूछ रही हूँ जब ऑलमोस्ट खत्म हो गया. तो एक बार श्री महाराज जी किसी के घर गए, सत्संगी के घर गए, और वो लोग काफी डिस्टर्ब थे. तो श्री महाराज जी ने पूछा क्या बात है भाई? उन्होंने कहा महाराज जी हमारे बहू बहुत ही विचित्र, उसका व्यवहार बहुत विचित्र हो गया है. तो श्री महाराज जी खाने के लिए बैठे, तो वो उनकी बहू जो थी घूंघट काट के रहती थी और खाना परसा, उसने भोजन परसा उन्होंने, तो घूंघट यूं पीछे किया और श्री महाराज जी से संस्कृत में बातें करने लगी. अब ये एकदम से इलिटरेट है, अशिक्षित है और संस्कृत बोल रही है. तो उसके अंदर एक आत्मा आ गई थी पंडित की. तो पंडित ने कहा, संस्कृत में बात कर रही थी, श्री महाराज जी ने संस्कृत में बात की और पूछा कि तुम कौन हो? उन्होंने पूछा कौन हो और इस स्त्री के शरीर में क्यों आ गए हो? तो उन्होंने कहा, मैं बताया कि मैं एक पंडित था और मेरे एक किसी कारण से मुझे किसी गलती से, किसी पाप से मुझे ये योनि मिली है और मुझे अपने आप को, मैं जानता हूँ आप कौन हैं और आप मुझे मोक्ष दिला सकते हैं. श्री महाराज जी ने फिर संस्कृत में बात की कि अगर तुम ये जानते हो कि मैं कौन हूँ, तो फिर तुम ये भी जानते हो कि मोक्ष तो केवल मनुष्य की योनि में मिल सकता है. तो उसने कहा हाँ मैं जानता हूँ, तो मैं क्या करूँ? तो श्री महाराज जी ने कहा कि धार्मिक स्थानों पे जाओ और उसी वातावरण में रहो, और जब तुम्हारा समय आएगा, फिर जब मानव देह मिलेगा, तो तभी तुम मोक्ष की कल्पना कर सकते हो, मोक्ष प्राप्त कर सकते हो. तो अभी तो नहीं. तो फिर वो चला गया छोड़ के. तो ये ऐसे.
Do you say that they choose their punishment as souls?
No, that we choose only our actions, but the fruits of those actions are given by God. तो भगवान चूज करते हैं कि क्या सजा देनी है, कितने समय के लिए. जैसे मृत्यु के बाद किसी को स्वर्ग में जाना है, तो कितने समय के लिए स्वर्ग में जाना है. कोई पुण्य कर्म है कई और उसका फल देना है, तो वो स्वर्ग जाएगा, या ये आत्मा स्वर्ग में चली जाएगी इतने देर तक, और या उसको नरक में जाना है, और किस नरक में जाना है, क्योंकि तरह तरह के नरक भी हैं, तरह तरह के स्वर्ग भी हैं. 7 स्वर्ग हैं लेकिन 28 नरक हैं. सोचिए 28 नरक हैं, कौन से नरक में जाना है कितनी देर के लिए. तो ये सब भगवान ही चूज करते हैं. हमारी चॉइस तो तब कर्म पे खत्म हो जाती है कि हम क्या कर्म कर रहे हैं, ये हम स्वतंत्र हैं, उसमें आजाद हैं. लेकिन अब इस कर्म का, गंदा कर्म किया था, इसका फल हम नहीं भोगना चाहते. नहीं, ये भगवान के ऊपर है. तो भगवान डिसाइड करते हैं कि कौन सी पनिशमेंट है। तो जब कोई आत्महत्या करता है या फिर थोड़ी देर के जैसे कोई अचानक ही मृत्यु हो जाती है एक्सीडेंट में, तो भी कुछ समय के लिए आत्मा भटकती है।
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah, Bhuma, go ahead.
Namaste. Thank you so much for beautiful lecture, Didi ji. I have two questions. One is that we may know here that I am soul or I am Atman and I am part of that God consciousness. What do you do to learn to see God in all the beings? That is my first question. And the second question is, can you please explain more about Nididhyasana?
Yes. So how can we see God in everyone? It comes down to only one word, and that is practice. That's it, abhyas. That's all. Once we go over, go over the philosophy, the theory, what we have learned is God is in everyone, but we forget. Again, क्योंकि सुना है लेकिन ज्यादा मनन नहीं किया, इसलिए विश्वास नहीं है, तो हम बार बार अपने आप को याद दिलाएं, क्योंकि एक साधक का जीवन है यही साधना करना। तो हम सब साधक हैं। So साधक को mindful living, sadhak must live mindfully. So we must live mindfully. We must remember before we speak unkind words, who am I speaking to? As Dr. Jen was saying, pretend that the person is dead. Like, and like, who is this? Is there no good in him? Is he only full of vices? Does he only have bad habits? No, then we can choose to believe that there is God in him. God is sitting inside of him. भगवान उसके अंदर बैठे हैं और उन्हीं भगवान की कृपा मैं चाहती हूँ। हम चाहते हैं उन्हीं भगवान की कृपा। और वो कृपा कैसे मिलेगी अगर हम उसी भगवान के बंदे को हम ऐसा देख रहे हैं, इस तरह से या ऐसे बोल रहे हैं। So becoming very mindful of what life is all about. This life is so much more than what we see. It's so much going on in the inner world of our minds, and we are on a path. So I like to think of myself as a student. We're all students in this university of life, and I'm being tested and I'm being watched. He's the eternal witness, Sarvasakshi. And I try to remember that I should not put a frown on my beloved Lord and my beloved Gurudev's face. And I don't want them to frown. हम नहीं चाहते कि हरि गुरु रुष्ट हो जाए, उनको कष्ट हो. So that's a powerful method, I think, of just remembering God is in everyone, that, God is looking at me and he would be so disappointed. And I like to personalize God, because when we say God, we think of a punishing God, distant God. And you can choose your own Ishtadev or the way you think of God, I'm sure you do. But when I say God, I think about Sri Krishna. So I think it's very personal then, right? Because now I have an image of God as Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is looking at me. And more often than not, I look at my Guru. I imagine him looking at me and saying, I'm disappointed. Or I'm happy, I'm proud of you. So if we can just, we just have to remind ourselves, we need to practice. And I'm sure you do it. I think, preaching to the choir, but that some time has to be set aside. कुछ समय तो हमें छोड़ना चाहिए जब हम संसार के नहीं होते, जब हम बस भगवान के होते हैं, हम एकांत में साधना करते हैं, सोचते हैं ये सब मैं कौन हूँ, कहाँ से आया, कहाँ जा रहा हूँ, क्या करना है, कौन मेरा है, ये सब सोचने के लिए समय चाहिए होता है. कई लोग कहते हैं हाँ हम 5 मिनट सोचते हैं, एक क्वालिटी टाइम होता है, पर आधा घंटा, 1 घंटा तो संतों ने कहा है, 1 घंटा तो कम से कम बिताना चाहिए, हो सके तो 2 घंटे, एक सुबह एक शाम को. So it's just boils down to practice, nothing magical, just practice thinking. That's how Nididhyasana comes, because we become aware of it. If I'm aware of the importance of doing something, I will do it, right? I'm aware that if I don't brush my teeth will fall out. I'll get all sorts of diseases, and people will not want to talk to me. Smell bad. So I brush my teeth. We all brush our teeth. We don't forget to brush our teeth. We don't forget to eat. We don't forget to talk. We don't forget so many things because they're important to us. We never forget them. So we just have to remind ourselves that, you know, God is in everyone. I know this, but now it's time to work on accepting it. तो practice से पहले श्रवण करेंगे. श्रवण करना बहुत जरूरी है, तभी हम निधिध्यासन पे पहुंचेंगे. So it's very important to listen again and again to someone who knows. And then thinking about what we've heard. क्योंकि एक आदमी था, उसने अपने बेटे से कहा, बेटे अब तुम बड़े हो गए हो, मेरे साथ चला करो कथा सुनने मंदिर में. तो ठीक है पापा, दोनों गए. तो उसने कहा कि पंडित जी की कथा हो रही है और वो सत्यवादी हरिश्चंद्र की कथा हो रही थी. तो दोनों ने सुनी कथा, वापस आ गए और बेटा बाप की सहायता करता था दुकान चलाने में. पंसारी की दुकान थी, जनरल मर्चेंट शॉप. सो अब वो सत्य बोलने लगा क्योंकि उसने सुना सत्य बोलना चाहिए. सत्यम वद, वेदों में कहा है सत्य बोलो. सत्यवादी बन गया वो. अब सब ग्राहकों को उन्होंने वो पूछते ये हल्दी कैसी है. उसने कहा मेरे पापा ने इसमें रंग मिलाया है. तो है ये क्या. तो ग्राहक जाने लगे और इसका दाम क्या है. उसने कहा हम तो बहुत बढ़ा चढ़ा के दाम बता रहे हैं आपको. तो सब कस्टमर्स चले गए, जाने लगे. तो उसके पापा ने कहा ये तो मेरा दुश्मन है, मेरा बेटा है कि दुश्मन. तो क्यों पापा. अरे सब ग्राहकों को तुम हटा रहे हो यहाँ से. तो उसने कहा मैंने सुना था कथा में सच बोलना चाहिए. मैं कान पकड़ा बेटे का, चलो फिर मैं सिखाता हूँ कि कैसे सुनना चाहिए. तो उन्होंने कहा देखो अपना शॉल जो है, अपना जाड़े के दिन थे, शॉल जो है अपने सामने रखो और कहो हे पंडित जी आपकी सारी कथा इसमें आ जाए. तो ठीक है. अब कथा समाप्त हुई, प्रणाम किया, जाने लगे. तो समेटू शॉल को. हाँ हाँ ये तो बहुत अच्छी अच्छी बातें उन्होंने बताई. हाँ ठीक है. बाहर गए मंदिर में, अब झाड़ो इसको, झाड़ो अच्छी तरह से. पापा सारी सब बिखर जाएंगे, यहीं पे रह जाएंगे. हाँ बेटा ऐसे ही सुनना चाहिए, एक कान से सुनो दूसरे से बाहर. अब सुना जो सुना वहां मंदिर में, तेरा तुझको अर्पण, वहीं पे रहने दो, भगवान के पास और पंडित जी के पास. और देखो मैं 50 साल हो गए सुनते सुनते. मजाल है किसी का कि जो मुझे बदल दे. मैं नहीं बदला. और तो एक ही कथा सुन के बदल गया, मूर्ख कहीं का. So when we listen to something, we need to think about it again and again. That you know this is what I've heard, and you know we just need to place importance on it. Then we will not forget. So पहले सुनना है, फिर मनन करना है, फिर वो निश्चय बुद्धि आ जाएगी कि मुझे ये करना है.
Thank you so much, Devi. Thank you.
Most welcome. I'm seeing a question over here. Why do we say that we? Sorry, I missed that. एक question आ रहा था यहाँ पे. Why do we say that we choose our lives, even if it's God who decides everything? गरिमा जी का question है. Why do we say we choose our lives? There is part of life that God chooses, and that is जो हमारे संचित कर्म हैं, वो जो अनलिमिटेड कर्म है, अनंत जन्मों में हमने किए, उनका फल नहीं मिला अभी, उनमें से कुछ निकाल करके भगवान हमें इस जन्म में दे देते हैं. और उनको हम प्रारब्ध कहते हैं, डेस्टिनी कहते हैं, भाग्य, किस्मत, कुछ भी कह लीजिए. तो संचित कर्मों में कुछ एक कर्म जिनमें एक जो मिक्सचर है, खिचड़ी की तरह है. कुछ अच्छे कर्म हैं, कुछ खराब कर्म हैं, कुछ भक्ति कर्म हैं, तीनों तरह के कर्म हैं. और उनके फल को भोगने के लिए भगवान हमें दे देते हैं वो. तो वो हमारी किस्मत बन जाती है. तो वो कर्म हमने पहले किए होते हैं, अब उनका फल हमें मिल गया. तो हम यूँ कह देते हैं कि भगवान ने हमें ऐसी किस्मत बना के दी. हमारी किस्मत अच्छी है या बुरी है, या भगवान ने दी है. एक्चुअली वो किस्मत हमने ही बनाई, क्योंकि हमने ही कर्म किए थे. भगवान ने तो जजमेंट दे, भगवान न्यायाधीश बन के, जज बन के उन्होंने हमारे कर्मों का फल दे दिया. वास्तव में कर्म हमने ही किए थे, वो पुराने कर्म थे, अब हमें उनका याद नहीं. तो वो जो किस्मत है, हमारे पूर्व जन्म के जो संचित कर्म थे, उनमें से कुछ कर्मों का फल हमें मिल रहा है. हम कह देते हैं भगवान करते हैं, भगवान ने दे दिया वो. और फिर अब जो क्रियमाण कर्म है, तीसरा कर्म, एक हो गया संचित, एक हो गया प्रारब्ध, एक हो गया क्रियमाण, जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्योंकि जो हमने कर लिया अब तो उसको मिटा नहीं सकते, उनका फल तो मिलेगा ही मिलेगा, अवश्य में वो भोक्तव्य. तो अब जो कर्म है वो नए कर्म वो हमारे मुट्ठी में है, हम करते हैं वो, और हमारे ऊपर है कि हम क्या करते हैं. इसलिए ऐसा कहा जाता है कि we say that oh it's God who decides everything. Actually he doesn't, but we are the ones deciding, but he's giving us the fruits of our actions. So we say God gave me this destiny, God has decided, but actually at all times we are in control of what we do. God gives us the power, he enables us to work. भगवान अगर मन बुद्धि ना दे तो हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. तो उन्होंने इतना दे दिया, हमें मन बुद्धि दे दिया. अब कहा मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, अब तुम जो तुम्हारे मन में है करो, लेकिन मैं बता रहा हूँ वेदों में ये करना है, ये नहीं करना है, ये विधि है, ये निषेध है. आगे तुम्हारी इच्छा, क्योंकि मैंने तुम्हें स्वतंत्रता दी है. So I hope the answer is clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Didiji, there's another question here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Nidhi Sagar.
Nidhi.
Would it be a reward or punishment depending on our actions, or is it to be looked at as learning lessons which we miss?
Karan, would it be a reward or punishment depending on
Namaste, Didi.
I didn't really understand. Namaste, Radhe Radhe.
That was my question. So
yes. So Nidhi ji, can you tell me what you mean? Like, would it be a reward? What
when we talk about the karma aspect of what we are going through, a lot of times we tend to say that this is a reward or this is a punishment in that manner. But is it something that should we not be just looking at it as a learning lesson that I missed, rather than putting it
is a reward or punishment? Absolutely.
A reward or
yes.
a punishment.
You're right. Absolutely, it should be looked at it as a learning opportunity. Yes, we should learn from that. Yes. And we do get, we are punished for certain actions and rewarded for certain actions, but we are to learn from all of them. Yes, absolutely.
And you also mentioned that according to the actions, we are given a certain birth. Should we be able to understand that once we come into a human birth, we continue to be human beings again and again? Or is it also possible that a person can go into an animal or a plant life as well, or any other form?
Right. It is very possible that if a human, if we are not careful, because this is a privilege, a human life is the greatest privilege. Kabahu ka kari karuna nar dehi det ish binu hetu sanehi bade bhag manush tanu pava. So we have lots of testimonies from scriptures that tell us that this human life is the most rarest. I mean, if we dig a hole in the ground, maybe 1 foot deep, we see thousands and thousands of little tiny creatures, microscopic creatures. On the other hand, there are only about 8 billion humans in the whole world. So that just tells us how few humans there are. And that tells us, without even looking at the scriptures, that the humans are rare. But every other form of life, we have lots of well populated. So it is a rarity. It's a rare privilege. It's a rare gift God has given to us. And so if we abuse this gift, then we can be demoted to lower forms of life, as a tree, an insect, bird, animal. It can be demoted as well. It depends on us where we want to go. That's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing that we decide where we want to go. It's not कि haphazard नहीं है कि मैंने तो ऐसा किया था, भगवान ने मेरे को कीड़ा बना दिया, भगवान ने मुझे घोड़ा बना दिया. नहीं, भगवान ने नहीं बताया, उन्होंने बस कर्मों का फल दे दिया. तो हम अपने कर्म खुद ही करते हैं और फिर उनका हमें फल मिलता है. So we can be demoted, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think your dog agrees with me too. He's barking now.
Didiji, there's another question here. Sri Lakshmi is asking, what should I do to get a good life in next birth?
Oh, your voice was distorted, Varshaji. I can't see the question over here.
So there's a question in the chat.
Oh, I got it. What should I do to get a good life in next birth? Yes. A good life is a good question. Sri Lakshmi ji, and everyone, to get a good life in next birth, we must do good in this birth. And by good, it doesn't mean just that we are good neighbors or, truthful. And those are all good things. Being truthful, not hurting anyone, not gossiping about anyone, and thinking good of everyone. That's great. But all of these come from these are children of a mother called Bhakti, for devotion to God, loving God. So devotion to God and loving God is a must, through which all these good things flow. When we bring God into the mind, when we meditate on God, then all the qualities of God come inside of us. They are rubbed off on us. And those qualities are the good qualities. Sadgun hum bolte na unko. Patience, tolerance, being friendly and humble and compassionate. All of those good qualities, they come when we bring God into the mind. So meditation on God is necessary. Roop Dhyan, as as my guru has introduced to the world, it's love-filled meditation. That's what it is. Love-filled visualization, meditation. So that is what we must do, to give a short answer. That bhakti, bringing a loving meditation on God. I wanted to know when the heart is heavy, or from Abhiji, I wanted to know when the heart is heavy or we are worried about situations, does God answer our questions or connects us through messages or symbols? Is it real? Yes, God loves us so much that when our heart is heavy and we are worried, if we are listening to God, definitely we can hear God in so many different ways. God will come to us and he'll put his loving hand on the shoulder and he will stroke our back and he'll say everything is fine. But for that, we just have to spend some quiet time with him. We have so much noise in the world, so much noise in the world. We need to just retreat from the world and be quiet. And in that quietness, in that solitude, we'll hear the voice of God, who is always there for us. So he always comes. We're not always listening. We're not always paying attention, but he always comes. Not just when we seek. He loves us. I always say God is crazy about us. He just loves us so much. He has infinite love and he's always there for us. All we have to do is to be quiet enough and to spend time with him. So we become comfortable with his presence. He's always there for us. Yes. So it's not something we imagined. It's very real. Is there another question is asked by Parinita ji? Is there any provision for a soul of choosing the option of not coming back to the earth in any form and to serve God's will and to serve God's will in some other way? Just if I want that I should not come back to earth, I suppose that that means that if we're not coming to this world, there's only one thing, and that is that I'm going to I just want to make sure that I understand the question. That means that liberation then? Is that what you mean? And that would be the only choice, really. I'm not coming back to the world. That means I'm with God, that I am liberated from this world. And there is that one thing that scriptures tell us about. If you take all the scriptures, and that's where the knowledge is, the Vedas, the eternal knowledge of the Vedas, and then Vedic scriptures. And so if we take all the knowledge and we take it like it's a fruit and we extract the juice, like you squeeze an orange and get the essence of the juice, the ras, then the essence of the scriptures would be, as Veda Vyasji has said, Alodya sarva shastrani vicharya punah punah idamekam sunishpannam dhyeyo narayano hari. He said, Veda Vyasji, who's God himself, has said, if you take all the scriptures and extract the knowledge, the essence of the scriptures, it is only this: O humans, meditate on God. So the only way of not coming back to earth is naturally, if I desire God, is to meditate on God, love God, do bhakti. There are different ways of saying the same thing. Surrender to God, And on an everyday basis, again, is that practice of meditation that is essential. Sometimes when we sit in meditation, this is from Agashji, sometimes when we sit in meditation and we visualize that God is near us, is this our imagination? If indeed it is our imagination, but it's a wonderful imagination. ऐसी imagination तो हमें करनी चाहिए. और यही हम पहले आपको बता रहे थे, आपने सुना होगा रूप ध्यान. रूप ध्यान इसी को कहते हैं कि हमने visualize किया कि हम खाना खा रहे हैं, तो हमने visualize किया कि श्री कृष्ण मेरे साथ बैठे हैं, मेरे सामने बैठे हैं, भगवान मेरे सामने बैठे हैं, हम उनको अपने हाथों से खिला रहे हैं. अच्छा चलो इतना भी नहीं, वो बैठे हैं, ये imagination ही तो है, बिल्कुल. लेकिन यही imagination एक दिन भगवान तक पहुंचा देती है. यही इमेजिनेशन एक दिन हमें भगवान तक ले जाएगी. यही सब बातें तो सूरदास जी ने की, यही किया तुलसीदास जी ने, यही मीरा ने किया, यही ये सब संतों की बातें हम सुनते हैं, उन्होंने यही किया था. बस उन्होंने इमेजिन किया था. इमेजिन हमें भी करना है, क्योंकि वो भी हमारे सरीखे थे, हमारी तरह थे, और कहाँ से कहाँ चले गए वो, तो हमें भी वही करना है.
Well, I think Didi has been very patient and answered all our questions in such a easy to understand manner. I think everybody will agree to that. So, Didi ji, what can I say except thank you, a lot of gratitude from me and from all of us here for your presence here with us, and keep showering us with your love through your talks, so that we can keep listening to you and your divine words, which really can gladden our hearts. So thank you so much. Anyone else would like to say something to Didi before we say goodbye to her for this session? Because I was going to tell Varsha ji also that we need to invite Didi at least once in 2 months, if she can grace our group here. It would be really, really very nice, because like you said, Didi, we have to keep listening. हमें बार बार जब आप बातें करते हैं और हम उस चीज को सुनते रहते हैं, तो शायद कहीं ना कहीं हमें एक विश्वास हो जाएगा कि we are divine and everybody around us is also divine. और इसके लिए सुनना बहुत जरूरी है. आप जैसे लोगों की बातें जब हम सुनते रहते हैं, तो इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ रिमाइंडर फॉर अस. और मुझे लगता है ये बहुत आवश्यक और जरूरी है हम सबके लिए. तो so Didi ji, I would also extend, of course Varsha ji will send you formal invitations, but do come to our group once in 2 months and grace us, and it will be always wonderful listening to you. Thank you so much. What does everybody say to this?
Thank you, Didi.
So
इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड टॉपिक को इतना सिंपल वे में समझाया है कि हमें इसको बार बार सुनने की बहुत इच्छा है. तो आप प्लीज आते रहिए.
जरूर जरूर. मैं भी कुछ कहना चाहती हूँ. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आप सबसे मिलके. Trupti ji, thank you so much. Very wonderful to meet with you. And Varsha ji I know for many years, and I have so many more friends now. my Zoom friends.
Yes.
So definitely I have truly enjoyed my time with you. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, और मैं भी चाहती हूँ कि आपसे बार-बार मिलूं, and I'm at your service. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, friends. Thank you, a wonderful group here. And we are truly blessed to have each other. And I know how we connect with each other. हम लोग एक दूसरे के साथ through WhatsApp connected रहते हैं, through Zoom connected रहते हैं. हर Thursday हम मिलते रहते हैं. All of us didn't know each other just a few months ago, and now we know each other so intimately. And I think it's only grace of God कि हम इस तरह से Zoom के द्वारा एक दूसरे के साथ बातें करते हैं. और हम I think Zoom itself, I mean, this whole virtual reality is also the grace of God, that He has created this amazing, kind of technology through people through all of us. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Varsha ji.
Thank you. Thank you very much
God
for
bless.
giving me this opportunity.
Yes, all of us are truly blessed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Didi ji has left
Thank you
us.
so
So,
much, everyone.
okay, so thank you. I think it was a super thing. And इसलिए जब वो बातें कर रहे थे दीदी जी, तो मुझे लगा कि कम से कम 2 महीने में एक बार तो हमें ये सब बातें सुननी बहुत जरूरी है. Because otherwise, like she said, practice. You know, so we miss out on this practice of the kind of satsang that we are blessed to have. So Varsha ji, keep shining your kind of devotion in this way to all of us. Or
next month we have Yugal Sharanji on the 21st of Jan.
Right.
21st of Jan,
Garima is prepared. The
I've
next
already
year's
spoken
thing.
to
Okay.
next
I
month.
think
Yes, ma'am.
I think
will
Garima
forward
was
it
here.
later. Yeah,
Acha,
we'll
theek
forward
hai.
it later, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, darling. Prepare karo. January, February ka jo bhi hai, prepare karo. And let's see whom else. And I mean, it goes for everybody. Okay. जो जिन लोगों को जानते हैं, please speak to Garima and just let her know. You know. So it will be really nice. We can have talks on so many different subjects. So let's invite healers, EFT practitioners, tarot card readers. We have so many amazing people all around us. And I'm sure आप लोग बहुत सारे लोगों को जानते हैं, है ना? So see to it that you contact them, contact Garima. And Garima is our one stop to make our programs. So please do contact her. Next week, we have Lenny, who's going to be talking on just before Christmas. So Christmas Eve talk we are going to have. And Varsha ji, मैंने आपको उनका photograph email किया है और details email की है. You got it?
I'll make it. Yeah, I'll make.
Just make a little poster for her. That will be nice. Distribute ho sakta hai wo. So she's going to be talking on Christ, the teachings from the Bible, and how we can apply it in our life. Let's get another viewpoint, because every view is so beautiful. Hai na? So we'll sing some Christmas carols also on that day. So agar aapko nahi aata hai, to please read some Christmas carols, and we'll play. Maybe I'll tell Lenny to play Christmas carol. It'll be nice. Maybe we can all wear our Santa hats or something like that. Can we do that, all of us?
Yes.
I mean, अगर आपके पास virtual Zoom का वो है, तो it can make you wear the hat also. So if you don't have a actual hat, but it'll be nice. We can all have our Santa hats on, and it'll be a nice celebration with Christ. So that will be lovely. So lovely. I think we're all gearing up for the new year. So next week we meet together. Okay?
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
To everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon. See you
Bye-bye.
next week.
मनन करते रहिएगा जो आज सुना ना, please work on it. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Good night, ma'am. Bye.
Oh, I have to stop the recording.
Stop the recording.